It's a little better, eh? Fog's leaving. I was looking up the Pembroke Valley towards Mount Meager. Meager Mountain. If you want to Google that one up. It's a volcano, dormant volcano. Actually, there's a massive slide up that sucker a few years ago. And I know of 3 different hunters. There's a popular deer wintering zone right below me on this side, right down this timber here. 3 different guys I know from town here had experiences with these things down there. Then straight up on the hill above me right here is where Sarah and I found tracks last spring. Yeah, more people. Well, that's kind of cool. Those paragliders just come up and launched himself off of the bank here. I've never done that myself. I haven't really had a burning urge to do it. I guess I probably should try it sometime. You can go up tandem and jump with somebody apparently. Now, got a little bit of a backdrop finally. First time for a while. Let's see what else somebody has for us to learn. Hello, Steve. Sorry about macaroni. I lived in a horse ranch as a young man. You get attached to those smelly hay burners. No shit, eh? Thanks for that, too. I'll get right to it. I am, or was, a big game hunter in the Pacific Northwest. I've been very close to a coastal brown bear. He didn't know I was there. I was cautious and alarmed, but not afraid. I'm not a timid person, but I do not consider myself a badass either. I have, however, been tested many times and do well under pressure, and we'll leave it at that. In or around 1985, I was hunting in the area of Glacier Peak, Washington State. Exactly where isn't important. I hunted most of the time. It was before daylight in dense woods, no light. Without a flashlight, you couldn't see a thing. It was deer season. I always wanted to be the first one on the trail, and this morning I was. While walking through the high brush, you catch spiderwebs in the face. You know what I mean. Yeah, especially those big, fat-ass, greasy bastards that go right across the trail in the fall. Ugh. I'm not a big fan of spiders. Give me a grizzly bear any day. Keep the spiders. I'll mention here that the fear I felt, it could be my imagination getting the best of me. I'll allow for that, but here it is. At one point, I noticed that webs were gone. And after a bit, I got a whiff of something like sewage or fish. And fish, real bad. Then I heard a large branch break and a little commotion, like an elk getting spooked, without the running away. It was on my right, maybe less than about 50 yards away up on the small hill. I got to the flank of an old-growth tree stump to see above the brush. I pointed the flashlight in the area and didn't see anything. On my left was a pretty severe drop-off, and I got an immediate sense of dread. I was instantly filled with a sense of terror. I've never feared anything in the woods before. For some reason, I put my back against the old-growth stump and shut off my light and listened. It seemed like something was moving in front of me, but I wasn't sure if it was more of a sense. I literally could not turn on my flashlight. My thumb was on the switch. I couldn't make my thumb move for about a full minute. It felt like 10 minutes. I finally willed my thumb to switch on the light, but nothing was there. But I went back down the trail, saw no sign of anything, and got to my truck at first light. I couldn't get home fast enough. I never told anyone until now. Thinking back on it, I realized I never went back there. Also, I never even considered that this might have been an encounter until hearing what others have shared. All the best, my friend, John Ellison. Well, thanks, John. Pretty sure you know there's a lot of similar experiences like that that go on literally thousands of times, right? You're not alone, that's for sure. Here come the fog again. It's getting chilly. I'm gonna have to read a handful of these from inside maybe later on. What I've been trying to do is I've been trying to get a video preloaded. I wanted to do at least do one video onto the YouTube channel each day with 2 or 3 emails in it to try to get caught up, which is basically impossible anyway. There's too many, but at least I'm getting as many of your emails shared as I can. So It's getting a little cold right now, so I'm not going to mind going inside to read a few later on, maybe. Hi, Steve. I watch your videos on YouTube. I really appreciate what you're doing. Your videos and others I've seen have helped me understand I'm not the only person who's seen something strange happen to them. That's motivated me to describe something that happened to me a long time ago. I had an encounter with some type of being. I've told friends about it, but I don't think anyone except my wife has ever believed that I'm telling the truth. Because of my experience, I think about often, I've read everything I can find and watched many videos, including yours, on the topic of Bigfoot, paranormal stuff, cryptids, and even aliens. Wondering if anyone has seen the same type of thing I saw. My experience is very similar to many Bigfoot encounters up to a point. Then it goes in a different direction. I did see a very tall being, but it was not a hairy ape. I don't know what it was, but I got a pretty good look at it, and it terrified me more than I thought it would have been possible. I can't say the exact year this happened. It was sometime around the mid-'80s, and I was around 28 or 29 years old. I can tell you the exact location that it took place is in Arkansas, on an island called Sugarloaf, which is in the Greers Ferry Lake. Greers Ferry is a man-made lake formed when a dam was built in the early 60s. Sugarloaf Island is a hilltop that was surrounded by water when the lake was created. The island is about a mile long and a half mile wide, sticks out atop of the lake a couple 100 feet. It's covered in heavy woods, except for the areas of the top, which is a little like the top of a mesa. It's probably 1,000 feet out from the nearest shoreline. There was a small boat dock in those days, and a well-defined path led to the top. No one lived on the island. On the day this took place, a girl I had been dating and I had been up boating around the lake. It was getting late in the afternoon, and we decided to go tie up at the boat dock at Sugarloaf Island and hike the path to the top, just for something to do. We did that, took the path to the top, looked around, and watched the sunset for a little while. We didn't see any other hikers, and we're pretty sure we were alone on the island. We decided we better head back down, as we didn't have a flashlight and wanted to get back to the boat before it got dark. It was about a 20-minute hike down. After a couple of minutes heading down the path, we started to hear something rustling through the leaves and brush off to the right side, the downhill side of the path. We couldn't see anything through the trees that might be making the noise. I thought nothing of it at first, thinking it was probably a deer or some other wildlife, but noticed that the noise was consistent and seemed to be keeping up with us. It sounded exactly what you'd hear if a person was walking through brush and dead leaves. We stopped for a second and noticed that the noise stopped. When we started moving down the path again, the noise started again. That seemed really odd, and I was starting thinking it had been a person. We stopped and started several times, testing to see if it was still matching our progress. And each time the noise stopped when we stopped, and started again as soon as we started down the path. It had become very obvious that whatever it was pacing us, or stalking us, or just plain messing with us. We kept looking, but still couldn't see anything that could be making the noise. It sounded as if it might be 100 feet from the path. I figured the most likely explanation was that it was someone, maybe teenagers, that were camping on the island and trying to have some fun with us. It was a little scary because we thought we were the only people on the island. It was starting to get dark. We had still another 10 or 15 minutes walking to get down the path and back to the boat. We kept going, stopping at random times to see if the noise continued to match what we were doing. It did, every single time, but the time we were 100 yards or so from the boat dock, I was more pissed off than scared about it, and decided I was going to go find out what was messing with us. We stopped, the noise stopped, and I told my friend to wait there on the path and I'd go see who it was. I headed into the woods, walking in the direction the sound had last come from. I had it in my mind that I'd be yelling at some teenagers to quit trying to scare us. At this point, walking toward where I thought the noise come from, I heard nothing except my own footsteps. I walked maybe 100 feet from the path into the woods and stopped at what I thought was the general area where the sound last come from. This is when it got really weird. I was standing in the heavy woods. It was twilight, and I was looking around for whoever had been stalking us. Suddenly, from behind a large tree, probably less than 30 feet from me, I saw a figure bolt and run. It was very tall. Very pale, bipedal figure that was unnaturally skinny. The best description I come up with is that it looked like a skeleton wrapped in white skin. I saw no clothes, no visible hair, just an almost skeletal, pale, abnormal-looking thing. I did not see its face. I had a view of it for a second or two before it disappeared into the woods at what seemed like an impossible fast speed. It ran upright, like a man would, but it was much faster than a person could be. It was at least 7 feet tall and very possibly taller than that. I was close enough to it to get a sense of its height. I'm 6 feet tall, and it was easily much taller than me. The arms and legs seemed very long, and it was impossibly skinny looking. There was no possible way that what I saw was a human being. The effect on me when I saw it was a mental and physical shock. The thoughts that instantly went through my head kept repeating was, "That's not right, that can't be right, that's not human." I wanted to run, but I found that I could not. I could not physically move. It was as if I had forgotten how to walk. I was unable to make my legs move. It was the feeling of complete hopelessness. I've thought about that inability to move a lot over the years, and my best explanation for it is that it scared me so badly that the fear had me frozen in place. I was very, very glad the thing had run away, because if it had not, I would have been completely helpless after seeing it. I literally could not lift a leg. After feeling unable to move for probably 30 seconds, the feeling of paralysis started to fade, and I was able to turn around and start back to the path, but it was difficult. I was unable to run and barely able to walk. I remember finding it kind of difficult to breathe. I was very scared, completely freaked out, and found that I couldn't really even talk. So I just grabbed my friend by the hand and started walking down toward the boat dock. We got to the boat, got it untied, started up, and we got out of there. After a few minutes, heading across the lake to the boat ramp where my truck was parked, I was able to tell my friend what I'd seen. Even though she had heard the noise, same as me, and had seen me head off to find out what it was, I think she had a tough time believing my description of the thing. I lost touch with her not long after this incident, but I'm certain that she did not fully believe what happened. I don't think I've ever been able to get across to anyone what it was like to see this thing. Oh, there's wolves howling down there. Two or three wolves. There's farm equipment working down there. It's probably tough for the audio to pick it up. I just heard them yipping in a couple howls. Anyway, sorry. Over the years, I've told other friends, and mostly been met with disbelief and jokes about it. I've been asked to tell the story of the white thing quite a few times, and after a while, feeling like it was being treated as a joke by everyone, I became reluctant to talk about it. My wife believes me as much as anyone who didn't experience it can believe something like this. I can tell the story, but there is no way I can relate the impact that seeing this thing had on me. Seeing it, whatever it was, run off through the woods is burned into my memory, along with the feeling of helplessness that left me unable to move. I'm not quite sure why it scared me to the point of being unable to move, because it didn't threaten me. When I saw it, it was running away. It wasn't a Bigfoot, unless Bigfoot can take off its hairy skin and run around as a skeletal figure. That's my experience. I can still think back on it, and it's like it happened yesterday. I see that you take people's experiences seriously, so I thought I'd send this to you. I'd like to know if anyone else has ever seen anything like it. Thanks for your time. Wow. That doesn't sound like an experience to crave. Doesn't somebody have a trail camera video of something similar to that white, creepy looking being on it? I think there's another video out with somebody flashes a flashlight on something like that and it takes off running. But you know how it goes these days. The shitty thing about it is it doesn't matter, man. A video, photograph doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. Look at the election, for God's sakes. I've got video of people removing ballots on video, but it's not admissible as evidence. Society's a mess, people. People got to start supporting each other again. Community. And believe in each other. We are the source of knowledge. We are the source. We're the source to listen to, the source to learn from. I found that organizations are people who crave power, who crave the lens time attention, whether it be interviews, TV shows, podcasts, whatever. As soon as you start seeing the same faces on dozens of different television shows and in front of dozens of different cameras, that's where my red flag goes off nowadays, from what I've seen and learned watching, observing various characters, and especially after being honestly informed about a lot of those characters, right? Yeah. It's too bad that people don't trust each other anymore and question what somebody's seen or saw. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is, I guess. But it's definitely not that way here, is it? So, yeah, let's see if hopefully if you've seen this, somebody else has in the planet, guaranteed. And I'm sure you sharing your email here is probably going to knee-jerk somebody to share their experience similar to yours. I'd put money on it. It's coming. But anyway, how was that? We finally got out in the sun. Finally got some good backdrop. Unfortunately, heard a few wolves down there. I'm not a big fan of wolves. I don't hate them, but they got out of hand way too quickly and way too easy. And then you got to do something about it. It's just a great big pain in the ass. I think I'm gonna head her back to the ranch, and I took a lot of backdrop video here, so maybe I'll read some indoors this evening if I get a few minutes, and post them up on the channel for everybody. So don't forget, email sharemystory@howtohunt.com or tellmystory@howtohunt.com, and we'll get it out there and get it shared. And there is a lot of new. There's a lot of new coming in the new year. It's coming. Be safe out there.